Welcome to Empower Her Radio, the podcast for healthcare moms who want to break free from limiting beliefs, build unshakable confidence, and step into the truest expression of themselves, both personally and professionally. I'm your host, Corey Wynn. I'm a wife, a mom, a doctor of physical therapy, and a peak performance strategist. Working with highly motivated women to transform their lives and inspire those around them is what truly lights my soul on fire. Each episode, whether it's a solo session filled with actionable strategies or an inspiring interview with a woman who has overcome significant obstacles, is designed to leave you feeling worthy and confident in the value you have to offer everyone around you. I hope you walk away empowered and ready to take that next step to lead your life on purpose. Now, let's dive into today's show. I am so glad you're here this week, and I am laughing a little bit because this episode is specifically to talk about failure. And the first time I recorded it, I realized that my mic was off the entire time and got absolutely none of my content. So there you go. There's my failure for today. But part of why this is so important to me is because so often in life, we compare ourselves to others. We look around and think, well, they're incredibly successful. And we talk about how successful all of these people around us are, but we never really step back and look at the obstacles they needed to overcome to get there, or the amount of times that they failed and could have given up before they got that success. And a lot of times we can internalize our own failures, that we weren't meant for this dream, that goal is too big, our dreams aren't worthy or valuable enough for us to be able to do it, we're not capable, we don't have the education, all of this negativity that comes along with not recognizing failure and obstacles are the path to success. And I know there's so many different ways of saying that. There's so many quotes out there: fail forward, don't quit, just do it. I mean, look at all of the athletics and athletic apparel companies out there. But my point is, all of that information is incredibly valuable, and you can hear it 100 different ways from 100 different people until that one time it actually sinks in. So I want to take some time today to talk about failure, to talk about epic failures, times that we could have all completely given up and turned another direction and not decided to live the life of our dreams because we thought it was just too hard. Hard is normal, failure is normal, and let's just embrace it. Serena Williams said, "I really think a champion is defined not by their wins, but by how they recover when they fall." If you have children like I do, they eventually learn to walk. Sometimes at, as little as 8 to 10 months, sometimes 3 years or older, depending on the development of your child. All of that to say, you don't ever see a toddler who's trying to learn to walk fall down and never get up again. They keep going for the toy. They keep going for their older brother or sister, or the dog, or the piece of food, whatever it is. They fall down as many times as it takes to not fall down anymore. And I have no idea what the research would tell you, how many times toddlers fall down before they can walk. In my own experience, I don't know, Eliza Jane probably could have fallen down thousands and thousands of times before she was able to get there and walk well without falling. And then we run. And then for some, we run marathons, or we sprint, or we rock climb, or whatever we do, but we keep going. And in the world of women entrepreneurs, women in healthcare, women in general, we don't talk about failure enough. We're in an environment where we must feel like we must compete and we have to be the best all the time and not show our difficulties, or not show the places that we might have blind spots, that we must always be strong and that everything's perfect in a straight line all the time. That's not reality. no one's success is a straight line, whether it's in a health journey, whether it's an entrepreneurship journey, whether it's working on a promotion or writing a book or going back and getting their education. Nothing is a straight line. So I want to talk a little bit about some women who you may have heard of that had some really difficult obstacles to overcome before they got their success. Did you know that Oprah was fired from her first anchor job in Baltimore? And now look at her, a multi-million-dollar, incredible powerhouse of amazing woman who has built philanthropy businesses, who has built a brand that we all know. Can you imagine if she had walked away from her dream when she was fired? Where would we be without Oprah? Vera Wang, one of the world's most visible designers, had an original goal of going to the Olympics for figure skating. And in 1986, she didn't make the team. Where would we be? Would Vera Wang have diverted and pivoted into fashion design if she had gone to the Olympics? Who knows? J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, and if you know me at all, I have read the series and I've read it to my daughter over and over and over again. But she was denied by 12 publishers before one would publish her series, which has now sold over 600 million copies worldwide. And finally, I don't know if you watched The Scandal with Kerry Washington, but she was part of 2 pilots before the scandal, and she was replaced in both parts. And her advice now is, if I could only have known then what I know now, I would have cried a lot less. And I look back in times of my life where I was struggling and going through difficult times and think, if I had only known what the other side of that felt like. And so often, many of us, me included at times, we wonder why things are happening to us. We fall back. I had a mentor say one day, sit down in the corner and suck our thumbs and have our own pity party. And I'm not here to judge you for that, because I've been there. I have had all of the thoughts and feelings of, why is this happening to me? Why isn't this working? Why is this so hard? Everybody else's path is so easy. And in reality, that's just not true. We just don't talk enough about the difficulties that we all go through, the hardships that we face, the obstacles that we have to go over or around to get our goals. And I think it's important, especially for young women starting out in careers in healthcare, in entrepreneurship, in insert your goal after whatever education you finish, that the road isn't always easy. It's not a straight path of beautiful, smooth, new asphalt. There's potholes and detours and road closures and all the things that make you want to pull your hair out and sit back and go, oh my gosh, okay, maybe this just isn't for me. And I think back to being a young child, and I told my parents when I was 5 years old that I was going to go to vet school to be a large animal veterinarian, and I was going to have a huge farm with cows and horses and pigs and goats and sheep. And I remember my mom looking at me going, who's going to take care of the farm? Oh, my husband's going to take care of the farm so that I can be the veterinarian. And through all of elementary school, that was my plan. I've always loved animals. Through middle school, that was my plan. And then I got to high school and reality started setting in that I had had this dream most of my younger years, and that I was still saying that that was my dream, but I wasn't nearly as excited about it as I had been when I was 5 years old. And when I was 16 years old, I was taking dance at school. I had danced from 3 years old up, and was now dancing at school, and we were practicing for a recital. And I looked down and my jazz shoe was untied. So I stopped in the middle of the dance piece and I tied my shoe really quickly and I tried to run through the whole routine really quickly and catch up to everyone else. And if for any of you out there who are dancers, you know that's a terrible idea because bad things typically happen when you're rushing. And I landed a jump combination wrong and I tore my ACL. And I remember it being horribly painful. And I also remember being utterly bewildered because later that day, I went to see the athletic trainer. And that was back when those flare jeans were really popular. They were really tight at the top and through the knees and then flared out at the feet. Yeah, well, my jeans were too tight for me to roll up above my knee. So what did I have to do? I had to drop my jeans in the principal's office so that the athletic trainer could assess my knee and wrap it. I don't know why I wasn't in the training room. Maybe it was closed at the time. I have no idea. But I think back and think how incredibly our assistant principal at the time was incredibly kind and made sure that no one came in the office. She was absolutely amazing and just made me feel at ease because I thought my dancing career is over. And it took several months for them to figure out what was wrong. I had surgery finally, and it took 5 months of physical therapy for me to be back even at 70%, 75, 85% of my true strength that I am now. But that was what put me on the path to become a physical therapist. And at 16 years old, I was very much in the, why did this happen to me? I have volleyball tryouts soon. This dance recital's coming up. Like, I'm a starter on the volleyball team. Like, why is this happening to me? And then I can look back now and see the incredible career I've had as a physical therapist, the patients who I've worked with, the lives that I've helped change and shift. That would never have happened if I had settled for still being a veterinarian because that was the life that I had chosen for me as 5 years old. And again, when I think back to jumping out in the world of entrepreneurship and going for my dreams that way, my very, very first webinar that I had live attendees, everything crashed. Everything. My Zoom link didn't work. My computer crashed twice. And eventually I gave up and I had to record my webinar and just email it out because literally it didn't matter that I had practiced it for a week. I'd recorded it multiple times. I had practiced with friends on Zoom to make sure that the Zoom link worked, that my technology worked, that everything was set in place because I was so nervous about putting on an actual webinar with real live humans that were going to be there watching it and participating in it. And it all fell apart. And I tell you this because that could have stopped me. That could have stopped me in the world of building a business. That could have stopped me in my coaching practice. That could have stopped me. I could have believed this isn't for me. I'm not meant for this. I'm not smart enough for this. And I also want to normalize the fact that I did throw a bit of a pity party for myself that afternoon. I was so mad that everything fell apart and I had practiced, but I have gone through enough personal growth that I was able to step back later and really evaluate, okay, for whatever reason, the universe did not need that information at that moment, and that's fine. And I'm still alive. I'm still here to talk about it. And I hope in this information and in this podcast today that you can look at your surroundings and step out of the victim mentality, step out of looking at things like they are happening to you and that the world around you is against you, because we've all been there. we just don't want to stay stuck there. And if we can talk more about failure and normalize the fact that true success to your ultimate dreams and goals require you to step out of your comfort zone. They require you to pivot and shift and move around in a different direction that maybe you weren't planning on, or maybe you didn't even know existed because you didn't know that you needed that level of growth. And I also want to give a big shout out to one of my very best friends, Elizabeth Nance. She is a chemical engineering professor at the University of Washington. And several years ago, she gave me this book for Christmas. And it's called Mistakes I Made at Work, edited by Jessica Bacall. And it's 25 influential women reflect on what they got out of getting it wrong. And its entire book about incredibly successful women who have faced various obstacles, especially in the STEM field and healthcare. You think about the obstacles that women have pushed through to become incredible surgeons, engineers, scientists, mathematicians, all pushing forward. And if we had listened to somebody say, "Oh, you're not smart enough," "Oh, you're not capable of that," or if we'd believed ourselves when we doubted ourselves, where would we be? And I hope to teach my own daughter that failing forward is what happens. And I have a little bit of pride every time I hear her say, "Oh, mommy, I can't do that yet." That wasn't me as a kid. It just stopped with, "Oh, I can't do that. I don't know how to do that. I'm not good enough for that." And I just wanted to read a little bit of this wonderful book just to give you a little bit of hope. If you're in that valley of despair, or if you're in that crossroads of, "I took this leap and it's hard and it's harder than I thought it was going to be, and I'm ready to give up." Joanna Barsh says, "I've noticed that young people are often afraid of living the wrong life. Every decision becomes momentous because they just haven't made many of them. They become afraid to decide anything, which can be a mistake in itself. Instead, start with what you really want to create, and if the decision takes you a step forward, go for it. If you don't know what you want to create, focus on gaining a skill." And I see this not just with young people. I know that my generation, especially, we were taught to go to work, work hard, keep going, and go get a degree, use your degree, move forward. And we can find ourselves boxed in this, "Well, I went to school for this. I have to only do this." And I was just talking with another guest on a podcast episode that's coming up soon about that you are an incredible wealth of knowledge. Whatever environment and whatever setting you're in, whatever your career is, you are the only one who is you. You have incredible value to offer. And that may not only be in the lane that you're in. You may also be able to consult. You may also be able to write a book. You may also be able to get on other people's podcasts and spread your knowledge that way. So be comfortable with not having to have this straight line of, "Well, this is my job and let me stay in my lane and let me put these horse blinders on because this is what I'm supposed to be doing." Allow the universe in to give you ideas, to think of other ways of doing things, and allow yourself to feel so much more fulfilled. When I talk with peers in healthcare, the biggest thing that I hear is burnout. They're tired. They're tired of the mundane. They're tired of the status quo, but they don't have the courage to look for something different. And I hope that not only my advice today or my hope for you, but also Joanna Barsh says, Be open to stepping outside of your comfort zone. In our leadership trainings, we have a vocal coach who makes people sing in front of the group because it's a real experience of risk. Some people actually cry because they feel so ashamed. But once they do it and realize that they are still alive, they're still breathing, they are stronger for it. Now, if you need to go sing out in public to recognize your own strength, absolutely go for it. I'm behind you. The point is, there are very few things in your life that you can step out and do that would kill you. Most things that are courageous and brave, that are going to make us move forward toward our goals, that are going to help us live the life of our desires, are going to be scary, but we're going to still be alive on the other side of them. So remember, failure is part of the process. Remember, pivoting and going and moving in different directions is absolutely normal. And if you have young women in your lives or women in your lives in general, talk about failure more. Not as a pity party, not as complaining, but recognizing as moms, we fail every day. I fail in entrepreneurship quite often. And the more that we can normalize it, the more we don't internalize that we are really failing and we can't get out on the other side. Thanks for joining the show today. Thank you for tuning in to today's show. I just wanted to pop in with a quick offer. If any of the topics we talked about today have left you wanting more for your life and you just aren't sure how to take the next step, I'd love to offer a free discovery call to see how the high-level coaching and strategizing I offer may be of service to you. Just head to corywin.com and click on Request a Discovery Call. That's www.coreyWinn.com. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you on the next episode.